franchising space. Remember, I said I used to sell things as a side hustle. So I think eventually I found what I wanted to be. So I didn't want just to be a franchisee, I felt like, I think now I'm ready. I've got enough skills. Let me start something, So I started the passion for me of training other people, because I was getting a lot of inquiries. How did you start with franchising? Where did you get funding? I'm like, okay, I think I could start mentoring other people. So my first brand business that I started, it was in 2017 with my mentorship program called Township Economic Transformation in Franchise Ecosystem, where I help other entrepreneurs or aspiring to be who would like to formalize their business.
Such big English words.
So
township.
Say
it again.
Township Economic Transformation in Franchise Ecosystem.
So is it still functional?
It's still functional, though it was growing on a very slow scale, because people, as you say, you are a mentor, they think they can't pay, they shouldn't pay you. Your services must be for free. Yeah, so that's where now I had to kind of like, okay, how can I remodel my business? Because I cannot give skills time for free. Otherwise, I'm not running a business. And here I am teaching people how to run their business to be formal. And one of the aspects that I look into is to formalize your business development, your financial focus, so that you know how much predictions in terms of your income and expenditures, as well as sales and marketing. Remember, business, once there's no income, there's no business, So for me now, I was like, I'm getting now to see a lot of people asking meetings, but they are not expecting to pay. Once you invoice, it's like, oh, okay, they don't come back. So that's when now I started going into working with corporates, where they do enterprise development. Then COVID happened. So all the, contact classes had to stop, which is my passion. I'm not really much of an online educator, much of it. Because I feel that when I'm with a person, they understand better. Because online, some they get distracted, some they don't have the data to connect online. So there's a lot of challenges. Yes. So as I was sitting during lockdown, after I expanded my businesses, I moved from Olivenhout-Bosch now to Midrand. So I've got 3 brands there, and then I thought, okay, things were going okay, and then COVID happened. So I was about 2 years in that new business, in the new area, because it was not the developed part of Midrand. It was still the developing part of Midrand. So things were a bit hard because the foot traffic, there was no traffic, enough traffic, Then COVID happened.
And we're talking about the franchises now.
Then when COVID happened, the trainings paused because I had contracts with other corporates. The training paused. The franchises closed down completely. Then I was at home. I'm like, what do I do? So writing a book was something that I was still busy with, but there was no agency for me, because I was like, I'll do it because I don't get enough time. I'm still busy doing this. Then when during COVID, I started writing this book. I'm like, let me finish this book. Maybe it was kind of God saying, you know what?
Slow down.
There are people who needs to hear, how you started. So finish this book because you are taking forever to finish it. Then I sat down. I'm like, let me write it. And then I came across your video when you were saying during hard challenges there can be Corona entrepreneurs. Then I was like, okay, what do I do now? Because I was stuck. Remember, we're in the house and I don't have anything. So a lot of my businesses actually came during COVID. So
that is
during
impressive.
COVID, I also took that opportunity. I'm like, no man, let me start something. Then I started selling masks online. I'm like, hey, man, why can't I sell masks? Because people are buying them. Then I started on Facebook. I was advertising the masks. People were inquiring. It was hectic. And unfortunately, I had to go home June. Just when it was still a lockdown, but not so bad. Then I had to go home. My mother had passed away. So when I was home, somebody advised to say, with COVID, you need to be steaming, and then I bought eucalyptus oil. And then we had to leave my dad at home alone. So I was like, shame, let me leave this for him. I will buy for myself. Then I come to Johannesburg. I go to different pharmacies. There's no eucalyptus oil. And there was plenty at home. So I'm like, okay, I didn't understand. Because remember, I was a month home arranging my mother's funeral. I was not really connected with what is happening in Gauteng. And it was very strange. I'm like, maybe I went to 3 pharmacies around. There was nothing. Then I went to Facebook and I'm like, okay, I need to buy buy this eucalyptus oil. Everybody was like, no, we can't find it. It was very strange. And I was just Googling. I love to Google. I was just using Google. I'm like, where can I buy eucalyptus oil? And then another supplier showed up here around Centurion. It was in some factory. I went to that firm, and then they allowed to buy in any quantity. You know, you didn't have to buy in bulk. So I bought, I think, 4 for $100. Then I came at night, sat at my house quiet, and then I started saying, oh, I'm steaming tonight. And people started asking me, where did you buy it? Because I had forgotten to say people were looking for it. And immediately I said, no, I'm selling. Because I bought 4 for 100 rand. I'm like, no, I'm selling 2 for 100 rand. You know, so which means 1 was 50 rand. People started putting orders. People were paying money. In the morning, I woke up, went to that supplier. I think about 20. I started delivering to people, you know, like around, because other people, I stayed close to them. Then the demand grew. Like, where did you buy? Please buy for me. I'm like, no, man, this can be business. Remember, the ratio was a bit slow. We had open, but it was, people were not trusting fast food. I'm like, okay, let me put energy here. At least it can get me, you know, some cash flow. Man. You know, I was broke. I didn't have money. That's how the business of eucalyptus started. I think within 2 weeks, I was now having distributors. So I was like, okay, if I make 100% profit, if I share this profit, I can have people now, they don't have to courier. If you're in Pretoria, then you can be a supplier in Pretoria. So it also lessened my admin because the orders were a lot. Like, I couldn't sleep. You know, you wake up at 1, the orders are coming in, and people are paying.
That is absolutely insane.
Then the next thing, I was like, hi, man, I must find a manufacturer. Then I started Googling again, manufacturer for eucalyptus oil. Then I found a farm in Durban. Then they delivered for me. That's when I started now being my own, having my own brand. Then I did my logo, I rebranded. Then the margins became even better when when I've rebranded, ordering directly from the farmer. So there was no middleman. So now I can now allow to sell people in bulk. Within 3 months, I had literally over 1,000 distributors. I had 4 groups of WhatsApp, where WhatsApp was 250 maximum. All of them, they were full. I had pharmacists from Limpopo who would fill up like 2,000 bottles. Go to Limpopo after 2 days, they're ordering again. Within 6 months, I made 1.3 million.
From eucalyptus oil during that little period.
So I was not sleeping.
Of COVID.
There was a time when there was even shortage of bottles, shortage of stock, you know, because bottles were coming from China, shipment. There was a time in my bank account, I had over 500,000 of people's money who paid for their orders, who were queuing. They're like, no, we will queue, it's fine.
We will wait.
Because
we trust you.
And people waited and I delivered. It was hectic. Others were impatient. Every day they would ask you. And like, guys, even the big suppliers, they don't have, you know.
We're waiting for China.
Yeah, waiting because now I was buying bottles from where even other companies, the retail companies were buying, you know. So we're all waiting for China shipping because bottles, nobody's manufacturing bottles in South Africa. Then when now things started to slow down, so I had a good relationship because with a certain bank, when I met with a certain bank, and then I started having a relationship with them who actually approved my second funding for the franchise. So it was now with a private bank. So I had a relationship with them. Then they would check. That's why I try to encourage people to say, hey, take funding, you know, for your business, because the business pays for that funding. But for me, the most important thing is that there are benefits, you know, like when I told you that with NEF, they will help me with this, even the commercial banks, because remember, they gave you money. They want to see you being successful.
They have an interest.
So they've got an interest. Yes, you are now having a board member or a business partner who genuinely wants the best out of you. So they will check on me. How is things? No, business is slow, but now I'm just busy with. Then we touch on personal things, household, you know. That's like, no, I've started eucalyptus oil, but no, the business is now starting to slow down, you know. So they had linked me up with another manufacturer. So I had 2 suppliers, you know. Then when they took me there, then I had an opportunity to go and meet with the head of operations. So she liked the vibe that now I was even doing mentorship, empowering women. I told them about the Bathabile Awards, you know. So we started now having that relationship. So as now COVID was coming to an end, like so,
and people are not steaming.
People are not steaming anymore.
Ask me,
so what's next? I'm like, what's next? I don't know, hey, going back to mentorship and fast food, but mentorship, I knew that it's still slow with corporates because everything was now moving online. Then this lady was like, oh, you could move into perfume industry. I'm like, perfume? Yes, I used to sell perfumes. Where? I used to buy perfume at Marlboro sale, spend 10 grand because you work for government, you've got a credit card. But I never thought I can have a brand for perfume. And I'm like, okay, let me think about it, because I've seen a lot of replicas, and I was not really convinced that I'm even the target market for that. So I'm like, I'm not sure how can I sell that. Let me just go and think about it. And I got home and I started thinking about this.
And you
Googled. I Googled. The first thing, how many users of perfumes? What's the market share?
Yes.
Then I see these billions. I'm like, people even during COVID, they were still bathing and putting perfumes.
Correct.
I'm like, okay. And then I went to one of the cosmetic stores because other scents, I didn't know them. So I was like, let me go and test. I love the scents because they give you a list to say these are the scents that we manufacture. I was like, no, I'm selling perfumes. I did a live video while I was at the Edgar store when I announced to people to say, I'm now into perfume business. I had ordered 100 bottles. Before I got my 100, they were finished. People have already booked them. Wow. Then I called to say, okay, please extend my order to 200 bottles, and then they came. People were asking, so this one, don't you have distribution opportunity? I'm like, no, I have it.
I'm ready.
Let me go and do my costing and see. And it came out nice because I managed to do again about 80 to 100% profit for my distributors. People love them. So most of the distributors that I did for the eucalyptus oil, we moved to the perfume together, which was
so clever.
Nice. So we pump each other there, we motivate each other. After you've done the sale, you share with us. If you are there at home, you've got your small table outside, just by your gate. Just by the gate there, you share as a photo. I shared my video of my son recently. Somebody was knocking, and he always says, if somebody's knocking, mommy, somebody's here to buy perfumes. So we share those stories so that we motivate each other. Yeah. We educate of what works. There are other ladies who will buy these transparent bags. So whatever that you're selling is in there. So when you're in a taxi, people start to be curious. What's that? What are you selling? Wear your brand, use your brand. So it's a nice one because our programs, we also have an element of mentorship. Even with my book, when I launched it, the distributors were selling. So it's always one of those that I try to give opportunities to other people, because remember, it's not everybody who wants to start something, but they would love to sell and make some extra income, but we don't have the capacity or the time or the knowledge to start our own businesses, which is not a bad thing. When after you've learned the skill, like how I started with a franchise, an existing brand I learned, and the knowledge that I learned from there is what I'm using to run my businesses. Because even with the franchise model, it's all about distributors. I'm a distributor for that franchise brand. So it's all about distribution that I learned a lot, that I'm now applying into my different businesses that I'm running. It's hectic because people are not the same. Their expectation, attitude is difficult. I think what makes me wake up every day and still love what I do is the love of what I started. So I didn't start this business just because of the money. I think the business, like writing this book, I wanted to see other people book my mentorship to know how I started to get the funding, because I share even the application form of one of the government institutions. I featured it here to say this is what they are looking for. Prepare yourself, because sometimes people don't have money to book for consultants. And for me, I'm like, to be honest, a business plan is even better if you write it yourself.
Absolutely.
Then go to a consultant just to like finalize it for you, because you are the one that knows the business that you want to start. Then go out and do the research. So I shared going to Olivenhout-Bosch, taking photos, doing that research. And by the time you open your business, you've got an idea what you are expecting. Yes, it cannot be perfect. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is guaranteed in life. You can open your doors today, the whole building could bend down. But if you've got an insurance, it's better. You could now get covered. So if you don't even know of insurance, because remember when you do your business plan, it talks about risk. How do you manage that risk? So at least it gives you a checklist of what you should be prepared for. And try to put measures, to ensure that if out of that unforeseen circumstances, what can happen. So it's been a journey. So any business, I don't want to lie, there's so many challenges, every business. So with the one because I outsource, the business. So now while you are outsourcing, some things happen during transit. For example, we courier the stock. Bottles are sensitive. As much as we can bubble wrap them, they can break, along the way. Then by the time the stock arrives, what you thought you are receiving is not complete. The clients paid, they are expecting their order. Now those delays, sometimes like any other, the fragrances, they are made of essential oils. So essential oils derives from different flowers and plants. So they don't blossom the same. Sometimes the color might change. Then customers will complain and say, no, it was darker than the last one that I bought, this and this and that. So everything, sometimes like now with the load shedding, printing invoices is a challenge because the administrator gets here at 8:30. Then my load shedding maybe started at 6 to 10. So now she must sit and do nothing because around the area, we cannot even go to the internet cafe, So we need to wait for 2 hours. And then by the time the load shedding comes back, the internet is so slow. You try to open your online store, it's not opening. The customers are calling. It's a nightmare.
Oh, you sound like you're talking about my life.
Yes, we have an e-commerce platform, though about 30% they still do the manual because our market is not only in big cities.
Yes.
We've got clientele as well in the rural areas and they are not really having resources to order online. So they rather order via WhatsApp. So we do cater even for people that don't have access to technology.
And then we see a bottle of gin. So what's the story with the gin? You seem to go a lot. Please.
I'm like, but to be honest, I always have this thing that, if I'm using something, why not sell it? That's why I told you that all my businesses, to be honest, they were not designed from me sitting down and thinking about them. They were just those opportunities that others came by, or I saw something and I'm like, why can't I do this? So I like to channel myself to say, why can't I do this? I love drinking gin when I'm out socializing with people, and I thought, okay, why can't I have a gin brand? It was just that spur of the moment thought, and remembering that the perfume use alcohol. So we talk about alcohol a lot. Like, okay, no, this one, like alcohol name is always J in our, like in most of our sentence when I'm at work. Then something like came and said, why can't I even do this alcohol? Because really, I'm already in the industry, and I love hosting. I love having this workshop, and I'm trying to be innovative. And I had to say, I don't want to bore people. So that one after that we can just sit down and have something, but at least have something that belongs to me.
That they can buy from me.
I can make an income. I get inspiration as well from other entrepreneurs. That's why we follow your channels. We see amazing things. So I'm like, why can't I diversify the businesses that I do? Because I've been in the food industry for the longest time. Like, no, let me diversify. Yeah, so that's how the gin started. So I don't trade it in any of the stores. So my model is always about in bulk. So I distribute it through events. I partner with other events companies. I was part of the Gin SA Society where they do national roadshows with different gin events and shopping centers, So it's been quite an interesting one. So I call it a lifestyle experience business, perfumes and gin. Because people love to drink alcohol, love to look good, smell good, and go out and drink. I try to, what can I say? I try to be hands-on, but I don't have all the time because the businesses needs, because you don't plan each and every day and it goes according to the plan. So I think maybe trying to wake up a little bit earlier and then just prepare, because I take them to school, and then I've been blessed to have a great helper. I've been with my helper for 13 years now. So that has helped a lot. And when my parents were still alive, they were also helpful. You know, they will come during school holidays, pick up my kids so that at least I've got some time. And now their grandparents from the paternal side has stepped in as well during school holidays. They take them, and yeah, it helps. It helps.
They sound like they were the bedrock of your life.
Just the thought about them, I still get so emotional, because like every business that I will do, they had an impact. You know, when I was writing my book, my father was proofreading my book, you know, because he was good in English. Yeah, so when my the companies are helping me to publish the book, they will give me the manuscripts to go and read. I won't have much time. I'll give to my dad, you know, to go and read, go to town, because sometimes like it's urgent, put it in a taxi so that the same day they are home so that he can read, and then we can talk over the phone. He tells me page this, you know. And my mom, she used to be, you know, that those ladies that if you say, "Oh ma, I need to buy stock," and they're saying, "Yo, I'm short, I need 10 grand." Somehow she'll have the money. She didn't earn much. She was a teacher in the farm school, her last job, but she somehow she always had cash in the bank, and she was like, "No, it's fine. I'll send you money." If you say, "Oh, I've got an interview, I've got an awards," "No, do you have money for petrol?" The next thing, boom, she's giving you 500 for petrol. So they were very shamio, they were very supportive. They were very supportive. Even my brother, you know, he's very quiet. He's not really into any of the businesses. But once you talk to him, and then he can refer you, you know, to things. So, no, speak to, there was a time when he organized me a meeting with one of the Pick and Pay owners, which is his friends, you know. So I'm like, "Man, you know people in retail." And I don't know people in retail, you know. So we are a very small family. So we grew up being open and always sharing. So between the four of us, we could just, you know, make up a plan. So it has been a very sad one, and I never really had time like to really sit down and mourn, because everything was busy, you know. And remember, now I don't have a backup. They used to be my backup. So now you are alone, that you need to run and make things work, you know. So after COVID, you need to ensure that the restaurant are at least surviving. You've got now this expectation to serve people. You cannot be saying, "No, I'm crying. I'm in the bed crying." Unfortunately, our business is one of those that it doesn't care how you feel. You need to wake up. But I'm grateful, because these opportunities, it's something that we pray for. It's something that I wanted, you know. And even I know, even my parents, they wouldn't want to see me, you know, crying over their death. I think we spend a lot of time together, more than enough time. That's the one thing that I'm grateful for. Even when my dad passed away, he was staying with me, because there was nobody at home. So I have taken him, and I could take him to the hospital. So at least running a business allows you to have time freedom. So I nursed my parents. So that's what I think kind of consoles me and comforts me, to say I spend a lot of time with my parents. My mother will call me every day. She had power hour. She will call me every day. 5 a.m., you know that Mama is calling. Throughout the day, she'll be calling. If he's calling, my brother is not answering, he will call me to say, "Please tell your brother with WhatsApp to check his phone. I'm trying to call him." He used to have airtime for days. So I miss them a lot. I'm Bathabile Mureki, and I'm an entrepreneur.